When it's time to begin, it's on the Rewind Around with John Pollock and Wai Ting. Me 18, that makes sense of these things we see in the ring every week on TV. It's Rewind Around for Monday night, download it Tuesday morning from the Post Wrestling site. It's Rewind Around for Monday night on USA Now on the John and Wai Take the Mic.
Hello everyone, it's John Pollock and Wai Ting. And tonight we're talking about Raw from Cleveland, Ohio, the good old Rocket Arena.
Yes. Formerly known as
everything. I think this arena's had a million names.
Quicken Loans.
Just,
whatever you name it.
No, I'm not looking it up.
Whatever.
Famous arena. This was where CM Punk both he walked out of Raw after the Royal Rumble in 2014 and where he fought Mickey Gall.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Very interesting, I guess. Yeah.
It's only a coincidence. That's it. There's no deeper meaning to it beyond that. But yes, everyone, we are here. We are here to chat about Raw. We just went through 40 minutes of news for the XL portion for all the Cafe members out there. We talked about Bron Breakker undergoing surgery, a big discussion about WrestleMania, ticket sales, and where business is at thus far for WrestleMania with about 2 months to go until the show. Would Wai Ting buy a ticket to WrestleMania? You can find out in the news pack what his answer would be. Also discussing AAA from the weekend, Chelsea Green's injury, location for Double or Nothing, the beyond comprehension of Impact's ratings on AMC, which are just defying logic, and a bunch of shows coming up over the next 48 hours between Noah, New Japan, NXT, and Dynamite in Ontario, California.
And the biggest news of all.
Oh, man. Folks, we are going to get the match that everyone is waiting for. It's going to be the Sandman versus...
You can't... That is a gag that would only work for video viewers. All right.
We always prioritize the video viewers.
Are we sure it's not simply John Cena coming out of retirement to face the Sandman?
He just came out of retirement on Eve.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so maybe he's doing his unofficial farewell tour this year.
Okay.
Maybe this is how AJ's going to get around things.
Just be invisible. That's what just offer a second life for
Sandman takes an invisible styles clash. A one-man styles clash.
Be quite the feat. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the big match of WrestleMania weekend. Move aside Punk and Reigns. We got the Invisible Man, Sandman, one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
Where is Bryce Remsburg?
I will say I am more interested in seeing the Sandman versus the Invisible Man than I think I would be even if he took on Joey Janela. Sad to say. I think Invisible Man is a bigger draw.
Well, we're going to see. I hope he doesn't get screwed on his payoff that night. I hope GCW is fair to the Invisible Man and the business he is bringing to Triller. Might prop up Triller's overall finances for the year. Might
Triller last until that show.
Well, I think they'll hold on for the Sandman's retirement. All right, into Raw we go tonight at the Rocket Arena. 9,900 tickets distributed by WrestleTix's count. This is up from their last trip to the Rocket Arena for SmackDown last July, which did 9,300 tickets out. And we get the arrivals with a return as CM Punk is there with AJ Lee, and Becky is behind them, freaks out when she sees the ghost of Christmas past. Michael Cole gives us the announcement about Bron Breakker. He was injured while training. He's out indefinitely, and he had surgery, but does not say what it was for. So more to come later.
Yeah, it would take, I guess, Paul Heyman to reveal later on.
Yes, Dr. Heyman would be on the scene later tonight. Mm-hmm. So Becky storms to the ring and can only take so much disrespect. And so AJ Lee comes out. She is here tonight to support Maxxine Dupri. I'd be furious if I flew all the way over. And that's the match I got, 90 seconds worth. Double count out.
She did end up playing a supporting role.
I think she had an ulterior motive to come to this show. I think she got a whole lot more out of this show than Maxxine Dupri did.
I would agree with that, yes. Mm-hmm.
Becky tells AJ, "You're ruining my life." And AJ brings up how she beat her at WrestlePalooza, beat her at War Games, and cost her the title at Madison Square Garden. But says, you know what? That's all water under the bridge. And Becky says, this is a great line, "There is no water and there is no bridge." And then all of a sudden, Becky, to try and get rid of AJ, offers her a match at Elimination Chamber in Chicago. It's like that's a hell of a way to get this woman out of your hair. So AJ explains, I haven't had a singles match in over a decade, and it would really have to be special for me to have a match. And Becky explains it would not be a title match. And AJ's like, well, that's just bad business. Who's gonna care about a non-title match on a premium live event? And Becky ends up relenting, as you know, AJ, she was ready to go to the genitalia argument if need be. She had that bullet.
Would that
in
work
the chamber.
with Becky Lynch?
Probably not. No. But nonetheless, Becky relents, gives her the title match, and that will be happening in Chicago. So there you have it. We have AJ Lee, Becky Lynch in 2 weeks.
I mean, the match was made in very WWE typical fashion, where you don't want this thing. All right. What if I just leave or don't do it? All right, fine, you can have it. There are several moments on the show where like people are just very easy to convince in professional wrestling, it seems. So yeah,
you just have to get them out of their comfort zone, and they'll agree to anything. And verbal contracts, those are the real contract signings.
Yeah.
Okay, it's verbal agreements. Yeah. Before you get in your thought, I'm just going to say, I know a lot of people enjoy like the interplay between these two. I felt like on the delivery scale, like on 1 to 10, they dialed it up to like 35 each. Yeah. And I think just like we are in this mode, like these are just how wrestling promos go. I just imagine to somebody that is just swooping in here and watching, like it is the level of like the overactingness
it's
here
bad.
To me. Like it struck me a lot, and I consume all of this stuff every single week.
Yeah, I actually had similar notes where, like, I mean, this is the Becky Lynch character, like this iteration of the Becky Lynch character. It's very sort of like over the top, you know, almost like you could say mustache twirly as a villain. She gets very easily aggravated, and like I understand it's supposed to be like a parody of, or at least like online, it's supposed to be a parody of Trump, and maybe this is just her interpretation of what it's like, you know, on camera, but. By this stage in this feud, you know, like their third real match together that they're both building up, like I'm ready for this one to be a bit more serious. And therefore, I was a little bit disappointed coming off of this segment where I felt like it was the time to really dial things up to be a bit more aggressive, a bit more realistic. And you could still have your fun. You could still like fit in your like Sports Illustrated line and all that. But I thought it was missing, I think, like real heat, you know, the type of real heat that you would want for like what is now a third interaction between these two.
Do you think this has enough to go beyond Elimination Chamber?
Well, sure. Yeah. I mean, Mania is probably the destination for both of them, right? And I guess is that, you know, maybe the argument that why, you know, let's not ramp it up too soon because like we still have so much more to go. Maybe I can understand that. I still feel like, you know, this could have been at least directed a little bit less over the top.
I don't disagree at all. I thought it to be a lot. And we see the Vision coming out of the locker room, and in his hometown, Logan Paul gets a ton of boos. Maybe from just what a weekend for the Paul brothers.
Yeah, really. I guess having their own sort of like dueling halftime show on Twitter.
Yeah. Jake Paul. What can you say about him? Even Logan Paul clapped back at his brother online.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
Sounds wonderful. The Usos versus Otis and Akira Tozawa for the World Tag Team titles. There was a point here where Tozawa went for this spinning roundhouse kick, but Jimmy was like legit like hunched over. So Tozawa completely missed him, and then just got up and just hit it again. And this time Jimmy went down. These two felt like they were on very different pages at the beginning of this. But then things got going. Otis press slammed Tozawa to the floor. Otis gets the hot tag, lifted up Jimmy, and awkwardly dropped him. There's a blind tag by Jay as Otis is going for the Caterpillar. They hit him with super kicks, and then Tozawa gets the hot tag, and my God, he hits a double missile drop kick, goes back and forth with suicide dives to both sides multiple times. In the middle of it, he does the run it back sign. This is the only time I've found the run it back thing amusing, and hit an incredible looking senton. And this crowd, they thought this was it for the Usos. He thought they thought Tozawa was going to pull this off. It was a great near fall, and it ends with a double spear on Otis and the 1D. 10 minutes, the Usos retained. So some rough going in the early part, I found, but I mean the bulk of this from the midway point and that hot tag on. I mean they got these challengers at least into the idea of believable winners in this, and I thought Tozawa overall got to really shine in the last half of this.
Whenever he's given the opportunity, which is really like twice a year, like Tozawa does manage to deliver, and he treated this match like it was one of his 2 opportunities to actually perform.
This was his WrestleMania.
Yeah. So certainly, yeah. The crowd was lifted for the finish, but I actually noticed a bit more sloppiness in the middle of this match, John. Like I felt there's a pretty concerning DDT that Jay took right after the commercial break that required the referee to check on him.
The ref came and checked. Yeah, I remember that spot too. Yeah, where he comes and checks on him. He
seemed fine, so like you could just say okay. It ended up like looking devastating and therefore maybe good. But then there was like a missed super kick from Jay that I thought was a pretty pivotal part. I think it was Jay. Sorry, it could have been Jimmy, and then a really strange back body drop from Otis to Jimmy as well. So I thought these were like relatively small errors, but still errors that I don't think should exist between like 2 really strong teams with like 4 strong level wrestlers in this sort of a caliber. So I also felt like there was a lot of issue with just the credibility for what is it what are their names now, Alpha Academy at this point, because I don't think they did enough over the past weeks to build to them. Like keep in mind this was built over like a month, and I don't think it was ever intended to be a month-long thing. It just happened to be that way because we didn't get Jimmy for so long. But by the time it took place, it didn't feel more important than like a 1-week build match to me.
Well, I think if you take both of our reviews, it's like I crapped on the beginning of this. You didn't like the middle, but we'll agree that the ending they got into. Sorry. So overall, I guess this was a failure of a match. But there you go. It was 10 minutes. We'll reevaluate next year when Tozawa's in something significant. Saxton goes to interview the Usos in the ring, and they put over Otis and Tozawa, and they're asked, "What's next for you guys?" And Jimmy says, "Jay, you need to qualify and win the Elimination Chamber and get back to the main event of WrestleMania." I was like, this dude just wants time off. That sounds like what he wants.
Well, he wants his brother to do well, and he knows he has no chance himself.
Well, he's a very selfless brother.
Mm. Yeah. For now.
Mm-hmm. For now, yes. Liv Morgan and Dirty Dom come out, and Dom has flowers and chocolate for Liv in advance of Valentine's Day. Maybe Dominic's going to be watching Grand Slam Australia, so he's preemptively giving his present. Liv says she's putting she did put Vicaire and Cargill on notice last week, and either one of them will lose their title to her at WrestleMania. And then we just had time standing still. Like it was probably like 3 seconds, but it felt like a minute because they're just waiting for Vicaire's music to play. And so neither of them knows what to do here. There's like a hug and they're just like, where's this goddamn music? So Vicaire comes out and tells Liv, "You talk too much." And then she starts speaking in Spanish, and Dominic doesn't want to translate what she said to Liv. So then Dominic responds in Spanish. Was this like the commercial?
Was she wearing that particular lip balm? I don't know, but sure, it was somewhat like that.
Liv explains to Vicaire, "You're not hot enough to wear my Hot Girls Love Dominic shirt." And then Vicaire says, "I want to kick your ass at WrestleMania." But Liv is not going to rush, and then she calls Vicaire puta. And that's it.
What does that mean, John? Care to translate?
I think the scientific term would be whore.
Oh.
Think so. Yeah.
Okay.
So Vicaire goes to she doesn't slap Liv, she slaps Dom for this. It's like Dom just got caught in the crossfire here.
Well, Dom approached her. She was clearly very tense, and unfortunately, yes, he took the brunt.
Okay. Well, I think this cements these two. You don't drop puta for a misdirect for the title program. Yeah,
I think on the scale of insults, I feel like puta outranks bitch, which is Jade Cargill's go-to. So yeah. I don't think Jade Cargill could be that angry after this. I really like this dynamic of having Dom play translator for Liv. I think it involves him in a very meaningful way in this feud. And I mean, it gives Stephanie not just Liv now, but Dominic, who is probably the biggest heat magnet on this entire show, to play off against. So I thought that already like really paid off here, where in this segment alone, I thought Stephanie showed some incredible personality and fire. You know, first of all, stepping in, cutting off Dom's translation and saying he called himself a bitch, which I thought was great. And then that big slap off of being called that terrible word from Liv Morgan. Yeah, Stephanie looked great, and I think she could benefit the most from this interaction.
We have a video for the women in the qualifying match with Rhea Ripley, Ivy Nile, and Lyra Valkyria. And then the announcement that at WWE World in Las Vegas, Steve Austin will appear.
Okay.
I wonder what a meet and greet will cost for Steve Austin. You can get a photo with him for $10,000.
Well, do they charge separately for like that, like for each guy at that level?
I think there's like tiers that you can get for like certain packages that come with certain people. I imagine Austin's going to be in your upper tier, I would imagine. But probably a nice day's work for Steve Austin to come into Vegas and command a big haul. This guy isn't coming off his property for much, unless it's, worth his while.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Rhea Ripley, Ivy Nile, and Lyra Valkyria. What an interesting match this was. Graves did bring up Chelsea being injured in the qualifier on SmackDown. Nile does a double German at the beginning of this match. Not the only time we would see that spot on this show. Nile is placed in the Tree of Woe, but does the Drew McIntyre where she sits up and sends both women off the top. And then we see Lyra and Ripley getting into it. And I was literally at this point thinking how, they're giving some shine here to Ivy Nile and trying to give her something in this match. And everything's going fairly well. And then Lyra is supposed to go up onto Rhea's shoulders, and she couldn't get up. So instead of just immediately just trying to do the same thing over again, they just kept moving. I was like, okay, just move on. And she does a leapfrog out of the corner and ends up on the shoulders. I was like, you got back to the spot you needed to. It's like, you're home free. And then Rhea walks into the corner where Ivy is going to leap off the top and strike Lyra. But Rhea drops Lyra too early. Ivy jumps off into nothing and just misses it. I was like, man, the more complex part of regaining your position on this woman's shoulders was completed, and all you had to do was hold her, and this just fell apart.
Well, they're going for the Steiner Bulldog, right?
Well, they did not make the Steiner Bulldog.
They did not. And it's rather unfortunate because I thought prior to this, everything leading up to this point was going really well.
It was even the save, again, with the shoulders thing. It's like they got right back to where they needed to. It's like, unless you're super focused on this, you wouldn't have even noticed.
They were on a great run. And up until, this was a pretty notable blemish, like seeing Ivy Nile dive into nothing. And, you do maybe have respect now for the spot because Ripley kind of it's not like Ripley could just stand there. She has to, push her opponent down and but she has to do that blind. Mm-hmm. And it just looked like, I don't know if you put the full blame on Rhea or if it's just a simple mistiming because Ivy might have taken too long with her footing. So, it's just unfortunate,
But then there was this other spot where Nile takes Rhea and gives her this snap German suplex and just about landed her on top of Lyra's head. Yeah. And it was like a miracle that she was just an inch to the left of Lyra's head, because this was a hard German snapping her to the mat. And Jesus Christ, it would have been almost automatic concussion if this had connected.
She moved in the nick of time.
This was this middle part. It was just rough. Mm-hmm. So Nile goes for the Dragon Sleeper. It's broken up by Rhea, who tries for the Riptide, but Nile counters into a backstabber. And then Lyra is left with Nile, hits the Nightwing when Rhea returns with a running knee strike, takes out Lyra with the Riptide, and pins Lyra in 9 minutes and 29 seconds. And now joins Tiffany Stratton in the Elimination Chamber. And I just wonder if this will compare to SummerSlam last year on the next season of Unreal.
You're
not there yet, are you? Have you watched episode 5?
No, not yet. No, okay. I need to before tomorrow.
Yeah.
Before we
I think you and I had similar thoughts on this match, just the middle portion that we focused on there was just a total mess and near disaster. But I did think like this was going really well, and it was the most I've seen Ivy Nile get in a like maybe in any of her matches on the main roster, to be quite honest. Like, they had 9.5 minutes here. They tried to make her sort of like the strong woman in this, which is tough when you've got Rhea Ripley to build the match around. But yeah.
I'd go as far as to say, like, I thought 90% of this match was excellent. You know, it felt very similar in construction to like I think the great triple threats you had from the women's division. Like, you know, not on the level of a Rhea Belair, Io, but like in a very similar style where it's just like rapid pace, no slowdown at all, even throughout the commercial break. You know, like this was the type of match where like it's not putting a hold on.
Andrade.
It's not Andrade. They weren't resting here. They're like actively like doing creative stuff all throughout. Very well designed, involving like spots involving all three women. But I would say like they nailed the idea that we should be focusing on Ivy Nile coming out of this match. However, there were pivotal moments. Well, really one pivotal moment that I think unfortunately will leave like a lasting impression on people, and that was that missed bulldog. And I imagine internally, like doing the German suplex with Lyra so close, probably doesn't reflect very well on her either. So, like in totality, you might be able to say like, okay, like she probably did enough to impress people, but it wasn't without its blemishes, and therefore was not at all, I would say, a perfect performance from Ivy.
Judgment Day in the back. Dom's going to have a qualifying match next week, and then Bálor is sitting in the corner. He's all bummed out, and Dom says, don't worry, JD will be back soon, and you guys can go for the tag titles, which was a great line. And Balor's just like, fuck this. I'm going for the world title. I'm not getting saddled with the tag division. And Dom says, everyone's chatting about Punk and Reigns. I think your window might have closed, man. And Bálor didn't care for this comment at all, so he was going to... He had no reason to be at the show, Finn Bálor, so he's just got to create segments for himself on this show.
I guess he wanted his match with Punk confirmed, was he not? He probably wanted to
it was like,
do something anyway.
He was... Would you have flown this guy in if you're Raw management? It's like, we're not making this match for you. You have nothing to do on this show.
Was he a fly-in, or was it just like, get here, you're an independent contractor, you ground transportation, that's on
everyone
you.
just has to be like Gunther. It's like, what am I coming in for? You're going to do a segment with Byron Saxton. So we'll see you tonight. Michael Cole is in the ring to welcome Punk.
But by the way, what do you think? What do you think both of their WrestleMania destinations are?
Bálor and Dom.
Yeah.
I could see if all else fails that it could be these two tied together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
could be.
I could certainly.
You don't want me going for he fails at the World Championship perhaps and goes for Dom's IC title.
He could go for the IC title. That's one thing to do. Yeah,
maybe.
Michael Cole's in the ring, welcomes Punk, and Bálor interrupts, reminding everyone, I left Punk laying like a wounded dog, and he's hurt because I hurt him, and I'm not going to step aside and allow Reigns to take advantage of my kill. And brings up, wouldn't be the first time that Roman took advantage, mentioning when the rope broke in their match. They had to look up here, Extreme Rules 2021. An event that is right off the top of most people's heads, of course, that they remember.
Yeah, it seems to ring a bell, but yeah, a lot's happened since then.
Yes. He wants the match at Elimination Chamber. Punk, you beat me on my home turf. Now I'm going to beat you on yours. And Adam Pearce, our matchmaker, is like, F that. We've got a big match for Mania. We need ticket sales to be up another 17%. We are not risking Punk getting hurt in Chicago. Then Punk arrives, and Finn goes to the desk, and Punk yells at him, and I swear, this is how he started this. And they're chanting CM Punk, and he says, you hear them, Finsky? You hear them, Finsky? And the crowd keeps chanting, says that Bálor deserves an ass beating. Bálor is not going to fight him here on the spot. He wants a title match. Punk says, fine, I'll beat you here in Cleveland, and the whole place erupts. And he says, I'll face you in Cleveland. I'll face you at Chicago. And Pearce refuses this until Punk says, tough shit. I'm calling my spot. Make the match or I'm going to wreck this show. And Pearce says, okay. And he makes it for Chicago. And this whole crowd is like, I don't know why they really had to dangle this for Cleveland. I mean, it was just like, let's just get their hopes up and then evaporate them. So this match announcement gets like a rejection from the audience after you tease them.
It put the heat on Adam Pearce for not making it for Cleveland. I mean, typically you do that and it's the heel saying, I'm not going to face you here in Cleveland, but like here it was Adam Pearce who did that.
Yeah. I mean, you could have had Bálor say, no. I want a title match, and I want you to put your hair on the line, Phil.
Sure.
AAA booking here.
Yeah.
So there you go. We've got the match for Chicago. So we have Punk and AJ Lee in separate matches, plus the 2 chamber matches. So it brings us up to 4 matches now for Chicago.
Could be a complete card already.
Yeah, unless you put Drew in something. Yeah, that's like the chamber matches are going to be lengthy. So yeah, they could go.
Well, the suggestion would be, why would Drew jeopardize his, like, I mean, you'd have the same conversation with,
You're right.
Nick Aldis. I guess I do appreciate them giving us some semblance of discussion about why this match would be made when a bigger match has already been announced.
Yeah.
I thought Punk did a great job with this closing promo here, and he sounded very angry and very determined at the same time, showing great fire, both in talking to Bálor and also in his retort to Reigns from his closing line last week. So I think he's sounding like Punk is sounding great here on the microphone in this like lead babyface role, as good as he ever has.
I mean, he is in the #1 match at WrestleMania, and I don't think that's going to change with whatever the card shapes up to be. But yeah, he finished the segment with Michael Cole and just like classic babyface promo here. I'm the fighting champion. I fight for you people. Why am I facing Bálor? Where there's no risk, there's no reward. I'm humble enough to know this could end on any night, but that shit isn't going to happen. And Reigns, I don't think you hate me. I think you hate that you can't stop what I'm doing. WrestleMania ends with me still the champion. So just total babyface promo that the crowd loved. And there you go. CM Punk avenging the ghost of Mickey Gall here in Cleveland.
So what's Reigns' next? What's his schedule?
So they put out the dates for him. He is scheduled next for March 2nd. So nothing until after Elimination Chamber, and he's scheduled for 5 Raws before WrestleMania.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the day, 4 of the 5 Mondays in March, and then the go-home show April 13th that he's scheduled for. So yeah, Indianapolis, San Antonio, Boston, the Garden, and Sacramento.
So nothing before Chamber.
Nothing before Chamber, which makes sense. You really don't need his presence. And like this next 2 Mondays should be focused on Bálor of whatever. It's a tough program to build up. Like these two are just going to have to do some big promos. It's Punk in Chicago. So, I mean, it's not as though it's too risky. It's just, Bálor's really in the setup position here and how compelling they can make that. Pierce states that Bálor has left the building. This is after the commercial break and the Vision come in. And this is where Heyman explains that Pierce pushed Bron Breakker so far last Monday that he pushed himself, lifting more weight than is humanly possible, and suffered a hiatal hernia, stating it is not arthroscopic surgery, but major surgery. And for anyone except Bron Breakker, it would be career-ending. So very significant here, at least the alarm that they are trying to put onto this injury. And Pierce says, Breakker is one of the keys to our future in WWE. I want him back just as fast as you do, but warns the Vision not to get involved in Austin Theory's qualifying match. We'll see how that turned out. And at the end, Logan Paul stays back and says, yeah, what are you going to do about it? I'm the biggest star in Cleveland. And then Reed pulls him away, stating, Adam Pearce is my problem now.
What did he mean by that? What did Reed mean by that?
I think it means there's a tsunami coming for Adam Pearce. That's what I think.
Interesting. Yeah, okay, that would make sense.
Maybe they'll take out Adam Pearce. I still, honestly, Raw, I'm really enjoying the Pierce Heyman stuff. I think the two are really great together, and I think the Pierce is one of the highlights of this show each week in this Vision story.
They're driving this so hard, and they're having Pierce fight back and look so dominant that it really feels like this. They're telling us like this could be the series finale of Adam Pearce. It's that type of focus.
Oh, I hope they don't write him off. I really hope they don't write this guy off. But it's almost going to that point. They've also they have not referenced that whole phone call deal. I mean, maybe they'll bring that back into things, that the mystery person on the phone that got Adam Pearce to apologize to the Vision. Because that was a pretty big storyline deal.
Or could have just been maybe we're supposed to believe that it was some sort of high level lawyer that Heyman has. But yeah, we'll see. It's not like they've reminded us of that at all.
Then it was time for Nattie to take on Maxxine Dupri. I was wondering if we were going to get a Maxxine gravestone presented after this.
She should do that social media post with every one of her opponents.
I think so. So Maxxine immediately goes for the ankle lock. It's broken. They go to the floor, and Nattie gets out of the ankle lock by kicking her into the steps, rams Maxxine into the post, and then just pounds on her on top of the desk as they get counted out in 1:35. And then it is not just a sharpshooter. It's a sharpshooter on top of the desk. Therefore, gravity at play here because no one wants to be elevated in a sharpshooter. And this prompts AJ Lee to run down. She's helping Maxxine to the back when Becky appears attacking AJ from behind. And so we got all these mixing and matching of programs. Somehow from this, we will get probably another Nattie and Maxxine match. We get Becky and AJ at Elimination Chamber. There's the tease of Nattie and Becky. I mean, we'll probably get some kind of tag match in here as well. All these different things to come out of this.
Could you see tag match on TV prior to Chamber?
Yes, I could see that. Definitely.
It continues to, like maybe have AJ dip her feet into the water, by being in another tag match. You still save the singles match for the PLE. They have mentioned Becky versus Nattie, and they have been, I would say, in the background teasing that match. So I wonder if they did pair up together, how they'll pivot to that.
Yeah, Becky and Nattie on their own right now, it's just a weird mix given these two characters at the moment. Like they should be together for at least some kind of tag match scenario. At least
certainly, it doesn't spell well for Nattie because I think she gets outshined in terms of star power, and she certainly shouldn't be losing to Becky, who you would imagine would be going to WrestleMania with the championship against AJ. So I think pairing them together probably helps them both a lot more. So yeah.
What about Maxxine Dupri versus Nattie at Bloodsport WrestleMania weekend if they don't get a spot at Mania?
Maybe Maxxine versus the Invisible Man.
Okay. I saw the Invisible Man take the Steiner Bulldog earlier in the show. I mean, so he's getting his reps in already.
That's right.
This 10 weeks out from Mania.
I think he took a super kick from one of the Usos.
He pops up in a lot of these shows at different times. So he's racking up his ring time. LA Knight does a promo for the qualifier. I feel we got like a dozen of these promos for these qualifiers. Bravo and Rayo against Javon Evans and the original El Grande Americano. They built up as a mystery partner. So we have Chad Gable here. Rayo trips Evans from the floor. So they get the heat on him. This went for a long time. They even crotched him on the post. And then Evans hits a springboard into a whisper in the wind, makes the tag, and Gable is in. Gable delivers the double German. So there you have it. Both him and Niall executing this move. Kaiser shoves Gable off the top. Bravo then leaps. And this was one of those where it was remarkable how they shot the replay of this because on the first shot, he's doing that deal where you dive and there's nobody there. Yeah. And he gets caught with this OG cutter. But when they showed the replays, they made it so clear to cut out the mat. So it just looks like he's diving and you don't see that he's diving into an empty pool. And Graves lost his mind on this OG cutter. I mean, it did look spectacular, but it also looked ridiculous in the setup for it. And
it was one of those where it really told you, like, for this product, how much the right camera angle really affects the quality of a spot.
Yes. Yeah. And Gable hits the diving headbutt, pins Bravo, 7 minutes, 43 seconds. Again, I'll be very disappointed if this whole Grande Americano deal just like wraps up on TV or like, I can't see them going hard with this till like toward Mania. It just feels like this is just mid-card comedy on the show when I watch this on Saturday.
Yeah, you're saying it'll have more benefit to AAA than it does on a Raw.
I think it will, but this will be interesting to see. Like this 100% should be a AAA program, and this will see like if they see, well, the biggest stuff is going to happen here on our show.
Mm-hmm. I think they'll continue to dance with both and somehow make both interesting or relevant.
You could use like WWE TV to build up something that has a AAA payoff to it,
but it's a show that it's only on YouTube. Is that enough for them to want to like invest? Like, what promotion have they given to that AAA show on Raw? At this point, nothing really yet.
Well, Corey sneaks in his references, and it's so obvious Michael Cole is not watching the show when Graves brings up that stuff as well.
The closing spot was really incredible. I do feel
Javon, it looked tremendous.
Amazing. I do feel like there's something missing with this like Chad Gable return, and I thought it was evidence in like him taking the hot tag here and not coming out to much of a reaction, and I think so much of it is due to the fact that like for some reason he's positioned as a babyface in this match, and like you had Graves say, like in Mexico, they cheer for the new Grande Americano, whereas over here they seem to prefer the original Grande Americano, and I'm like. I don't know if the crowd necessarily cares that much for Chad Gable. I mean, for one thing, like he left off as a heel playing this character. And I also think like it's a missed opportunity. Like it doesn't feel as complete of like a character because we're not seeing Chad Gable, right? Like what made this whole thing work, in my opinion, before was the fact that you got to see Chad Gable in his regular sort of like normal civilian clothing, pretend that he's not Americano. And I think having the both of them really helped and really made the thing feel a lot more playful and complete. Now we're just seeing this version of Grande Americano that we're somehow supposed to care about and cheer for, even though last time we saw him, he was a heel. So I just don't know if any of that is that landing all that much. So I wait to see how they might adjust.
Would it be better to explain these stories if you had Conan on the Raw broadcast team?
Yes, sure. Yeah.
This version of Chad Gable is so JoJo.
Oh man!
And we had a Penta promo. I swear to God, just like 1,000 promos for this match coming up. The post match, Kaiser attacks Gable, tries to unmask him. Then Gable tries to unmask Kaiser, and he's saved by Los Americanos. So let's get those masks off these guys pronto. That's what I took from this. Vic Joseph. Oh, did you catch this Vic Joseph interview with Lyra and Bailey? This is the new Hall of Fame entry for Netflix commercial break interviews. Okay, this is the night that talent stopped truly caring about these, or at least they're gonna have a lot more fun with them. So, Vic Joseph, who is here, I believe this is his hometown in Cleveland. He interviews Lyra, saying, "Things didn't quite go your way tonight." And Lyra, with like the most personality she's ever displayed, "Oh, you're so good at this. That's some really great insight, Vic." She explains that you never, ever are around to interview me after I win. And then Bailey cuts in, calming down Lyra and saying that, you know what, when we fall down, we pick ourselves up. I've got a qualifying match next week with Nattie and Osaka. Last year, I was taken out. I missed WrestleMania, so I'm here to redeem both of us by going to WrestleMania because the two of us, we deserve the big spots. And Vic follows up by saying, "Yeah, tell me, Bailey, what does it mean for you to go to WrestleMania after last year?" And Bailey's like, "Well, now I'm annoyed because I just explained what it means to me, Vic. God damn it!" Oh, and they're distracted by some kid that screamed from the crowd at them, so they're playing off of that. This was everything I want the Sandman Invisible Man match to be. This was just a beautiful disaster. But I laughed several times at this. I thought it was hilarious. Vic just came off as like someone that's just totally programmed with these questions and just doesn't input any of these answers. It was something else. It was the Anthropic ads with the AI guy talking to them with two humans responding like normal people.
AI should, yeah. I mean, I do feel in these situations, I do like have some sympathy for the host because they're just like watching the time, right? They're just looking at the hard time cue that Netflix has.
Fill 90 seconds. That's the goal of these.
Yeah, and this is what you got, unfortunately.
I love this. Okay, everyone. I hope that Netflix doesn't edit these out after the fact. Obafemi video. We didn't have him on the show tonight, but he says that people fear change, but it's inevitable. Change is here. And he is a free agent. Saxton is with Gunther backstage, and he is asked about the attack on Dragon Lee. His response was, "I don't care. I've moved on." There's no reason for this at all. There was no tease about Ray coming for revenge. It's like, that was yesterday's news. I'm not getting bogged down with these mid-carders. He says, "I have a qualifier next week. I should have had WrestleMania plans after I took Bill Goldberg, Old Yeller, behind the barn. I should have had WrestleMania plans after I made Cena quit, and then when I put AJ to sleep. Next week will be the same result, and I will leave WrestleMania as champion."
Right, yeah. So,
man with a lot of options.
Yeah. I guess we could expect Ray or Dragon Lee to interfere next week, can't we?
Do you see Gunther in the chamber?
Yeah, sure. Of course. Like he's
I
probably
think he
a
gets
leading
into the
candidate.
chamber, and then you could do
You're right.
something with him afterwards.
Okay. So
I
maybe
don't know if they'll have
nothing.
time for this Ray deal.
Maybe
we'll see.
nothing. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
nothing.
they might
with
not
Ray.
even. Maybe last week was just we're just gonna keep them busy for a week because
Mhm.
I can't recall like just blowing off a program so quickly as this one was. Like there was nothing. There's no
Well, we
response
don't
from
know
Ray.
it's the blow off yet, but
Yeah,
yeah,
we will
maybe
see.
it doesn't.
We'll see.
Yeah.
They certainly like he's in the They could do something with either of them next week in the qualifier. They could cost Gunther. So it's Gunther, Dirty Dom, and Javon Evans in the chamber.
Hmm.
Nattie, Bailey, and Osaka, and AJ Lee is on the show next week in Memphis. Main event: Penta, Austin Theory, and LA Knight. We've heard from all of them many times over on this show. So Knight, learning from the best, that is Randy Orton. You can't just lift the guy and drop him on the desk, but you can ram his head repeatedly. That is open, and LA Knight has officially procured that maneuver as he delivered Austin Theory's head into the desk over and over, then to Penta. We see a Tower of Doom spot with Theory sending both off the turnbuckle. Knight avoids a stomp, hits the inverted DDT and his elbow drop. When Logan Paul and Bronson Reed run down, they get knocked off the apron by Knight, and then Reed runs over LA Knight on the floor. Logan Paul distracts the referee, allowing Bronson Reed to hit a tsunami. When Pierce runs down, he's fuming, sending Bronson to the back, and we see a stomp by Theory, but Penta returns, making the save. Theory then takes a back body drop by Penta onto the desk, and that's the return of the Masked Man, who super kicks and stomps Theory, throws him into the ring. Logan, who just sprints after this Masked Man, he just hightailed it through the crowd. He went so fast here. Crowd was really into this at this point. This was one of those where I actually think the run-ins really helped this match because it was sort of just your bare bones Raw triple threat main event. But the crowd was really into this after the Masked Man and the chase, and it's left to LA Knight to hit the BFT onto Theory and pins him in 13:41, joining the Elimination Chamber with Randall.
Randall, that's right. Yeah. Crowd was really hard for this finish to see LA Knight move on to
Yes.
a title opportunity. I mean, he's one of those guys who's sort of like, like he's a Chelsea Green where like the audience really, really, really wants people to push him, and maybe Knight more so than really anybody on the roster. He has the audience wanting them to push him more, and they feel that he's deserving of a lot more than what they've given him. So big reaction for this one. I thought the early portion of the match was rather generic, and maybe that was largely due to Austin Theory being relied upon for most of it. He still continues to be somebody who
This first half of the match did nothing for me, and I'm usually always the stickler on the run-ins. The run-ins enhanced this match like a lot. I thought like it woke the crowd up, and it picked this match up a lot for me because it was just kind of running through the motions for me for the first half.
Theory like really continues to be very uninspiring. And again, there's nothing wrong with him, but there's really nothing great about him either. Like that really captivates you, unfortunately, in these matches. So, post match, I thought it turned out really well. I think having Logan chase after the mask guy certainly maybe defeats that as a potential theory, no pun intended, that he could be it, unless he's working with somebody. But I thought the crowd reacted really well to this mass dude deal, and we continue to await further clues.
If we're looking at the possibility of like this being like a stand-in for Seth when he's ready, and let's say for whatever reason Bron Breakker is not ready, do you think you could just pivot Rollins to one of these other guys, like whether it's Logan or Bronson Reed? Would that be your backup plan? Like that would seem to make the most sense, or
I think Logan is the match. Have they done Rollins and Logan before?
They did Rollins and Logan before.
Where?
Several years ago. Was that
WrestleMania?
They did it at Mania.
Mania 39.
So
yeah. Is there fear that they're running that one back and people don't necessarily want to see it?
My only thing would be if they had something earmarked for Logan Paul for Mania, but like you've got Bronson as well. So it's like, you do have options. It's not the ideal one.
Logan's a bigger match, right? But they have done it.
Yeah. So, Heyman just pleads his innocence to Adam Pearce. And then, you might have missed this at the end, they did put in memory of graphic at the end for Jim Shank, who died over the weekend. He had been with the company for 26 years as a technical operations manager and died from colorectal cancer. He was only 60 years old. So yeah, he had been with the company since 1999, and this was the closing graphic at the end of the show.
Do you recall them doing this sort of thing for like a crew member in the past?
A crew member. That's a good point. Not off the top of my head. Like I'm sure. So like when I remember when like Jimmy Miranda died, he might have gotten an on-air mention, but not a graphic that I can think of. And for those that remember, like when Jim Hellwig first proposed the idea of the Warrior Award, this was the kind of focus he wanted it to be, was for people, the unsung heroes of the like production that it would focus on. And then the award became something different afterward. And I think they dropped it last year, didn't they? Warrior Award. So anyway, but that was sort of the thinking when he gave his speech in 2014 as well. I'm glad they acknowledged this. I mean, this was someone with the company for more than a quarter of a century, and it's like, 60 years old. That's very sad. But there you go. That was Raw, and I don't know. Last week certainly felt like you came off like a real big high with the Reigns Punk segment, and it felt like you were starting to like kind of narrow in on kind of your Mania picture. And tonight's show was more so like I didn't really sense too much like Mania focus. This is all about the Chamber show in Chicago, and some rough stuff in various matches,
which you can argue as they should, because you don't want the Chamber to feel like a lame duck show. You know, you set your main match. You built to Vicaire versus Liv, which is the presumed match for her. Yeah. And then the Chamber itself is, really to build up to Mania. So I feel like that, like it was about as much Mania sort of like building as I would have expected. And then like the Chamber qualifying matches kind of like built that match up themselves. Also, you had Punk and Bálor, be driven pretty decently. So
in the AJ stuff on the AJ show stuff, as well. Yeah. So you had that,
and you also wonder what Breakker's role would have been on this show.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that this, once they realized he was going to need surgery, it probably threw a bunch of plans out the window, because you would have figured, like, I would have assumed he would have been in the Chamber, you would think.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, there you go. Those were our thoughts on tonight's Raw from Cleveland. And before we get to feedback and questions, we want to let everyone know that Wai and I are coming back on Tuesday. Our reviews of WWE Unreal are winding down. Tuesday's review will be on episode 4, Performance Art, which is going to focus on the performance art of Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman coming together for the ruse of the century.
Ooh, this is the one that I think I'm looking forward to talking to you about the most, John. I would suggest that you're somebody who certainly is attached to this particular story more than most podcasters, and therefore I'm looking forward to chatting about this one with you and WWE's representation of it on their Unreal documentary.
Yes, so that's coming up on Tuesday. Looking forward to chatting about this with Mr. Ting. And then Wednesday, we've got Rewinded Dynamite, and starting this Thursday, Pollock and Thurston moves to a new day, new time, Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time beginning this week. So note the date and time change that goes into effect this Thursday. And
Pollock and Thurston Thursdays rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, Pollock and Thursdays. It does.
Thursdays. Okay.
Hopefully the first show on the new slot with big data plus panel and the new Nielsen methodology. Hopefully it's a big strong start that we get, and it will be live. So. Maybe we'll see what magic is created on Thursday. Mm-hmm. And final thing is that Thursday we are also putting out the Ask Away mailbag show. So you still have time to submit your questions at forum.postwrestling.com. There's a thread there. You can post whatever questions you would like. We will get to all of the mailbag questions, and just submit your questions before Thursday. And look out for that. That'll be on the Post Wrestling Cafe, which you can join now. $8 a month gets you access to all the extra shows, the XL versions of this show, and Rewinded Dynamite and SmackDown, Rewind-Aways twice a month, and all of our archives, almost 200 editions of Rewind Away in the archive. Plus, we will have a New Beginning review coming up this week with Karen Peterson and Bruce Lord. We're going to be continuing our Unreal reviews for the next 2 Tuesdays, and plenty more. TNA No Surrender this weekend. All of that at postwrestlingcafe.com. And, Wai, you can also get a free trial.
7-day free trial for those of you who are new to postwrestlingcafe.com. Otherwise, if you sign on board, it's $8 a month, and I would say it's $8 pretty well spent if maybe our several members have anything to say about it. So give it a shot, postwrestlingcafe.com.
Yes, so there you go. That's all the plugs we have to do before you accuse us of being a puta. But now we are going to say goodbye to everyone here on the Post YouTube channel. We're going to keep going for all the members on the cafe. So goodbye, YouTube.